Welcome to Alfie's Business Club, the first ever meeting of the show that will make you $1 billion or your money back, James. No refunds allowed. This show, for everybody that's new, and we're new as well, this is kind of like the Diary of a CEO if Stephen Bartlett had any friends. This is, separating the Warren Buffetts from the Warren all-you-can-eat buffets, the Steve Jobs from the Steve can't get a job. That one's not as good. Today, we are talking about Steve Jobs, the bully, the playground bully that founded Apple. You might have heard of it. You might recognize him on your screen if you're watching this on YouTube. The man in the black turtleneck who gave all the TED Talks, who took a bunch of LSD and bullied all of his employees. We're going to be talking about how he built Apple through fear and being a bit of a sketchy vegan. My name is Alfie Dundas. I'm the CEO and founder of Alfie's Business Club. I'm joined today by my unpaid summer intern, James Mileham. James, say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to start at the beginning. James, Steve Jobs.
I'll be honest, I've been researching over the last couple of weeks about Steve, Steve, and I'll be honest.
You know nothing.
No, well, I don't like him.
Right, well, that's where you're wrong. So Steve, a lot of people think Steve's a bully. I think Steve was misunderstood.
Yeah.
The more I read about Steve, the more I really understood about myself. I keep putting my glasses on to read. They make it harder to read. Let's start at the beginning. Stephen Paul Jobs, born 1955. It's the 50s. Born in February, just after Valentine's Day, famously. Unmarried parents, put up for adoption. Unloved.
He was an unloved child, and I think he needed that. He seems like he wanted to get love from somewhere else. So he wanted attention. He feels like he needed attention as we look at his sort of childhood life and then going on to the Apple stuff.
Yeah. Do we know what his original parents were called? I don't have his original parents. I know that he had a Syrian dad.
He had a Syrian dad, but he gave him up for adoption. The
parents gave him up for adoption. Syrian dad. And then adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs. And that's where he took the name Stephen Paul Jobs. They were a working class couple in Silicon Valley. And they, I think, they sort of loved him and he loved them because he was a nice man. And this is misunderstood. He was Steve. Steve was a loving child. He loved his parents. He would sort of beat the shit out of anyone. Well, not really. I think he was about 3 years old. But he'd get quite annoyed at anyone that claimed that his adopted parents weren't his parents.
Yeah. Well, his parents were black, famously. And he was like...
His real parents?
His adopted parents. Yeah.
Were they actually?
No, they weren't.
Oh, okay. It's like,
Those are my parents.
No, but his real dad is Syrian, and it feels like that is left out of the conversation when we talk about like great American heroes.
That's true. He doesn't look... I mean, what do Syrians
Steve
look
Jobs'
like?
dad wouldn't get into the US right now.
No.
So everyone talks about these titans of industry, coming over here. This is the most pro-immigration sort of right-wing story you could possibly have. You've got a billionaire, son of an immigrant, work ethic, unloved, taken in by a working-class white couple.
Yeah.
And then being a bit of a nightmare. But his parents seemed like pretty chill people. I'm pretty sure they were hippies.
Well, this is another part this is the first part where I'm like, oh, this is annoying. He's already annoyed me.
He's annoyed you as a child. He's annoyed you because he's a hippie. Yeah. But we'll get on to that. To begin with, at school, he was a dick. Let's start there. Or smart, depending on the way you want to look at it. At school, Steve Jobs used to play pranks on his teachers. He let off a small explosive under his third grade teacher's chair, giving her a nervous twitch. It's 100% true. And his parents defended him. They were brought in by the school and they said, if you can't keep him interested, it's your fault.
Yeah, I mean, he is very futuristic because those are very modern parents.
That's great. That's gentle parenting.
Yeah.
That's almond mums going, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't give their teacher a nervous twitch?
And I mean, how big is the explosion? He's making a...
It's big enough explosive to cause lasting damage, but small enough to not kill her. I mean, under her seat, it really wasn't like...
He's trying to kill Hitler.
He was trying to do a lot of damage. I wonder what they said that led to that conversation. But anyway, he was a nightmare. He was bullied in the 7th grade. Steve Jobs was bullied to the point where he gave his parents an ultimatum. He said, I'm going to drop out of the school if I'm not transferred, which is a bit like saying I'm going to kill myself if you don't kill me first.
You don't care about me.
Both of those things are just moving school. He said, if you don't move me, I'll move myself. And they did. They moved him to Los Altos, which is Spanish for...
lots of...
No.
Oh.
You're wrong. Los meaning sort of the.
Right.
Male plural.
Right.
Altos meaning high or lofty or grand.
Right.
Los Altos. So he moves to the heights. No? That doesn't... But sort of.
Isn't that that Lin-Manuel Miranda film? The Heights?
You should think of Hamilton.
No, he did a movie where it's like there's like a Dominican area.
Well, that would make sense. This is
really?
like Spanish. Well, this is because Silicon Valley goes across. So right, let me put a bit of geography for you. Right. But left hand side, never reached shredded. But west hand side of the US, basically all California, and you go up the coast, and it's basically shithole and then billionaires, and then shithole and then billionaires, and then shithole and then billionaires, until you go down to the bottom where you basically have Mexico. So you get the border with Mexico. Now, the southern parts of California, I think I'm right in saying, were originally Mexico.
Right.
Like they moved the borders.
Okay.
So that's why everything in that area is very obviously not English, is it?
I thought you were going to say shithole.
No, they're lovely areas. I'm sure Los Altos is lovely. It's like, I'm wondering how long this podcast goes till we get a Trump impression. Yeah, okay. Beautiful areas. Los Altos, Cupertino, Tijuana, that might actually just be in Mexico. But all of those places on that like San Diego border are kind of basically originally Mexico. We're talking sunny, we're talking sandals, we're talking nice weather. He moves to Mexico, basically. I mean, not really. And then, and that is where he meets Steve Wozniak, who
school.
He meets him at school, which is suspicious because, and if you've lived under a rock for the last 40 years, Steve Wozniak then went on to become the co-founder of Apple. But there was a 5-year age gap between them. So Wozniak was like a 21-year-old. He was a 16-year-old. It's a story as old as time. Fine. He's a bearded 21-year-old, and they would hang out together at night. I think we'll get onto that in a minute. But they became sort of very close friends. And as a teenager, Steve Jobs was pretty extreme. He believed that if he only ate fruits and vegetables, he wouldn't get any body odor.
God almighty. He is so ahead of his time on the way that obviously his tech stuff was so futuristic, but on the annoying, diets.
They don't talk about how ahead of the game he was with veganism.
With being so irritating.
He was a stinky vegan. He only ate fruit and veg, and he didn't shower.
What are they teaching him?
By the way, it didn't work. It worked so badly that he at one of his jobs, he was shifted to the night shift.
Yeah, when he worked for Atari.
His first job was at Atari with Wozniak, Wozniak was at HP. He was like a kind of a young man, kind of been older than like 18, 19. It was sort of his first job. He was working at Atari that made video games, and he was so smelly that they only allowed him to work at night when no one else was around. So Wozniak used to come into the office at night, again, 5 years older, and then they would basically code and kind of be stinky and nerdy together.
Yeah.
He's the original vegan.
But also it makes sense. Like, have you been to CEX? Have you seen the employees of CEX?
The game shop.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you've ever been to a CEX.
I mean, I've sent people to pick up the latest, Farmyard Simulator 5. Yeah. But how is it pronounced? Kex? Sex?
No, CEX I've always done, but people go, sex?
Was it meant to be?
CEX.
Well, pull it up. How are you meant to pronounce Kex?
How do you pronounce CEX?
I think it is genuinely meant to be pronounced sex, but they sort of say it with a straight face.
No, because those people who work there have never had it.
Well, we will do an episode on Kex. It is.
Oh
the
my
retails
God.
of CEX is pronounced sex. The pronunciation was confirmed in commercials and based on the company's acronym, Complete Entertainment Exchange. That's not CEX, that's CE. Complete Entertainment Exchange is C.
They could have gone with C, but they went, no, let's make it filth.
They're pretending it's got anything to do with that. That's Central C. That's C. C. Oh, let's pop on down to C. It hasn't got the same ring to it. Anyway, Steve Jobs did not work at Sex, but if Steve Jobs was alive today,
he would be a sweaty little
he'd
CX
be running
employee.
a Sex in Maidenhead.
Yeah.
And he'd be absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
He was a freak. He was a freakish child, but a genius. I would like to...
Well, then we'll get on to that because I don't think
you don't think so, but I think
he is clearly a genius, but he's
a smelly genius. At this point, he's a smelly genius sex worker. He's a smelly sex worker with potential.
Also,
sex spelled CEX for clarity.
Yes,
on the captions.
He's a sex worker.
He's a sex worker.
The employees of CEX are sex workers.
That's it. Yeah. I'm a sex worker. What do you do? Sex worker. I'm not 100% sure, but I can't imagine like what the job interview at CX is.
Do you have a neck beard?
Do you smell, quote, funky?
Do you have a weird obsession with Japan?
Yeah. Are you here just because you accidentally typed in CEX thinking you were going to find porn? Because you can't spell sex.
Are you here to meet a Ukrainian lady?
Yeah. If so, you're going to fit right in, fella.
Yeah, come on in, lad.
You can be regional manager of CEX.
Yeah.
CE, as I'm going to refer to it from now on.
So just on the Woz thing, he is mad that they met at school.
I'm not 100% sure how they did meet in the sense of were they okay, here we go. They weren't at school together. They had a mutual friend and they met in 1969 and they bonded over electronics and pranks.
Nerds.
They were nerds, basically. Steve Jobs. So let's get back to the facts. We're now in 1972.
Right.
Steve Jobs is not showering.
No.
He's purely eating apples, which is ironic or foreboding, whichever one's correct. Apples and pears and plums and Brussels sprouts. And he's not washing and he stinks. He's experimenting with... He stinks. He's experimenting with marijuana and LSD, which was, common at the time in the sense of it was happening a lot. Not that I'm looking down on it. And he's a stinky weed smoking sex worker. And then he takes a gap year. So in 1972, he enrolls in Reed College in Oregon, but he drops out after a semester because his parents can't afford the fees. But he stays on the campus and he takes a bunch of classes for free, which I didn't know you could do, including calligraphy. And he basically says that is why the Mac had multiple typefaces and proportionally spaced fonts. He was obsessed with font. He was a little virgin, basically. In the mid-1974, he seeks enlightenment. 19 years old, Steve Jobs travels to India and he returns a Buddhist with a shaved head.
Oh, God.
He's a stinky vegan gap year student with an older boyfriend working at Sex.
An old hairy boyfriend.
And people, and to go from that and an orphan, not an orphan, but a sort of
adopted.
He's a hippie. He's the original hippie. He's got a joint in one hand and Steve Wozniak in the other, some flip-flops.
Yeah.
And he's
but he's now erring on, when he starts working at Atari, he is combining the two people I hate the most, which is hippies with weird diets and tech bros. Those are the two probably the worst people.
And you're saying he is both.
He is the culmination of both of those things at the same time, which is very complex, very, very interesting man.
He's an interesting man. Also interesting that has lost its way a little bit in tech. All the big tech people now,
they're racking up coke.
They're racking up coke. They all fight. Have you seen like Zuckerberg is doing sort of BJJ or whatever? Is it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
And
what's his name? Who's the Amazon bloke? Bezos.
Bezos is
He's
buff.
jacked.
Bezos is huge.
Looks like Megamind.
Can you pull up jacked Bezos on the boat?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? He's a huge. They're all. Get up jacked Bezos, and then can you also pull up hippie Steve? Can you get an early picture of Steve? Jesus Christ.
The difference between 1957 and 1959.
If you're listening to this, first of all, come and watch us on YouTube. We're looking at a picture of 37-year-old Bezos versus 59-year-old Bezos. My thing is, 59-year-old Bezos is still ugly.
Yeah, I trust 37-year-old Bezos. He looks like he works at a bookshop. Well, he did. You mentioned it.
he built the bookshop.
Yeah.
So he's nice. He looks like a man that is just trying to make $1 billion. And that is, and who isn't? That's what this podcast is all about.
It's quite cute.
He's a sweet, fat, bald techie. And that's how I like my techies. I don't like this chiseled Vin Diesel kind of fuckery. I mean, Elon Musk and all his kids. It's like, well, actually Steve Jobs is about to do some fucked up shit, but I just think if you're going to be a billionaire, I think as a population, we would be much more comfortable with billionaires if they didn't get suddenly jacked and put themselves in movies.
But what else are you going to do? I mean, that's the thing. You've got £1 billion. He sold Amazon
early, James. That is how you build a legacy.
You know what? Like in comparison to all these guys are living forever. They're making, they've made loads of money. They're getting jacked. They're like, measuring their sperm or whatever. Who's that? What's the guy called?
Measuring their sperm.
Who's that guy?
What, length and width?
Yeah. What's his name?
What, the size of his sperm?
Johnson?
Brian Johnson.
Oh,
the man that wants to live forever.
Yeah. He's a billionaire, isn't he?
He's measuring his sperm.
He's like, isn't he like...
With what? Like a caliper?
I'm going to put in Brian Johnson.
Sperm. Don't type that in.
Cum?
No. I think sperm would get you a more accurate... I think... Brian Johnson has got 85% of microplastics out of his semen.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've got microplastics.
See, Steve Jobs was putting microplastics back in his semen proudly, so that he didn't have to have kids. Let's keep moving so we can get onto that. But what they're doing now is they're trying to live forever. They're trying to have as many kids as they can, and they're trying to fight. Yeah. Steve Jobs lighting spliffs, denying he could even have children, which wasn't true. He had loads of them, and then dying early. And this is an educational podcast, so let's make sure we take stock here. If you want to be a billionaire and you're a 19-year-old kid working at Saks in Maidenhead thinking, I don't know what's going on, you stink and you're smoking a lot, just know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Uncle Alfie's here to say you're doing well. And in a couple of years' time, you too could be dead and a billionaire. Yeah.
Well, that is how I like. He's very rock star, isn't it? To be fair,
he's the original rock star. He's a dick. He's a bully.
Yeah,
and he's a cool guy. So let's get, where are we now? So we're in 1974. Steve Jobs, back from India, shaved head. He looks like the last Airbender. He stinks of marijuana and fruits and vegetables. He's not showering. He's not using deodorant. He takes a job at Atari to save up some money. He was very abrasive, and he argued a lot with his colleagues because he refused to shower regularly, trusting his fruitarian diet to keep him clean, and it didn't. This is when he gets banished to the night shift at Atari.
Yeah.
Nolan Bushell was the CEO of Atari, co-founder of Atari, and he realized that if he banished Steve Jobs to the night shift, then not only did the office smell better, but he also would get Wozniak to come in at night and work on computers. So he said, I got two Steves for the price of one. Genius move.
Yeah.
Jobs, this is where Jobs becomes kind of techie for the first time, and he bonds with Wozniak. Now, Atari is a video game maker, an arcade game maker. I couldn't really figure out what that looked like, but basically Atari made a game called Breakout, and Jobs negotiated a deal with Atari saying that they would pay him a bonus for every chip he reduced in the machine. Now, for James, we're not talking chips, French fries. We're talking computer chips.
Okay.
Little tiny French fries made out of silicon, mined in Congo, that power like your phone and those kind of things. Cool. So we're back on track.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about Wozniak and Jobs more in the next episode, so make sure you stick around for that. It will be out as soon as this is out, so get on that. But what I want to just put here, this is the first really sort of shady business that Steve Jobs does as an adult. He pretends to Wozniak that the bonuses they got from Atari were less than what they actually were. So Jobs got a $5,000 bonus for reducing the chips. And it was Wozniak that reduced the number of chips. He was the real kind of innovator. Steve Jobs then basically said, we only got $700. And so he gave Wozniak $350. They'd agreed to split it equally. So instead of giving him $2,500, he gave him $350. Now he needed the money, and Wozniak said later on when he found out, It would have been absolutely fine if he just told me he needed the money. But he didn't. He also never denied it. It got brought up later and he was like, yeah, I did it and it's done now. which is, by the way, a really good argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've done it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Everyone gives all of these oil tycoons shit for like dumping oil in the sea. Yeah, well, it's done now.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I'm not a shit.
The pelican's covered in oil.
Yeah, but CEO of Shell, the pelican's dead. Okay. What do you want me to do? Go to the funeral?
Yeah.
I'll send flowers.
Yeah.
I'll send flowers to the family. What?
He's just gone,
What?
Yeah.
He goes, fine, give it here, I'll stuff it, put it in the office.
The difference is this is a couple of grand.
Sorry, yes. I'm not saying this was as bad.
As the BP oil spill.
It sets a precedent for him basically being, sort of taking what he wants.
Yeah.
And then in 1975, a year later, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak embark on their first kind of joint venture, and they built these things called blue box cappers. And there was a thing at the time called freaking with a PH.
No, capers.
No, blue box capers.
Like a caper is like a...
It's like a little fish. No,
that's a kipper.
That's a kipper.
A caper is like a mischievous, like an adventure, isn't it? A caper?
It sounds right, but you can't be right. That's not how this podcast works. Caper, blue box capers. Yeah. Capers I thought caper was that little sort of silver thing that you put on cornichon.
I don't know what a cornichon.
Little sliced sausage, little salami and like pickle and caper.
Yeah. Sorry, capers are a food.
A food as well.
But also, I think a caper is like.
This is very quickly turned into top jaw.
Yeah, caper.
Caper. What is a caper? Is a box. Caper box. It's a playful caper to skip and dance.
An illicit or ridiculous activity or escapade. And I believe they were on that with their blue boxes.
Fine. So the title of this chapter was just blue box capers, as in blue box mischief.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, a blue box capper? Like a lid? Okay, cool. Basically what they did, and we're going to edit that out because James was right and I was wrong. So you're not going to see this anyway. And cut, and we're back in. Basically, Steve Wozniak engineered a device that emitted tones that fooled phone company switches into allowing free long-distance calls. So for our younger listeners, of which there are many, back then, you couldn't just pick up the phone, put in a number. You had to call an operator. Like a smooth kind of operator and I always just think of those women doing putting
it in the balls.
I'll put you through. Hold the line, Mr. Darcy. And I'll
get me Beijing now.
Get me Beijing. Yeah. And it would like literally sit for 40 minutes waiting for Beijing to pick up the phone.
Hello, operator.
There was a lot of hello, operator. What are you doing? And I don't really know how they work, but it's mental how easy it was. It was they just copied the tones that made it sound like the call had already been paid for when it hadn't. So reverse engineering that, like Steve Wozniak would. What I'm taking is that when you made a long distance call, if it had already been paid for, there was a little beep. Can you give me like a little?
I think it was more like a ooh.
And if as the operator goes, hello operator, he goes, ooh, get me Beijing. Ooh. Then they'd go, well, he's clearly paid for that.
Yeah.
Because no one could.
That's what that means.
That's what that means. Yeah. Whereas if it just went, get me Beijing.
If it's Beijing, maybe it'd be different.
Not paid for.
No.
Charge the call. Dope. So what happens if you used to make a call and you didn't pay for it?
Well,
hello operator, get me Beijing. No. There's no noise. Up. And then you're on the other line just going, and they go, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I'll put you right through.
Well, it's all...
That may not be exactly what happened. What we've just explained.
Yeah. You didn't know what a caper was.
Might not be strictly true.
Yeah.
A capper. It's a black box capper. And your call was capped at 5 minutes, which is why these are called blue box cappers. Maybe. Who knows? Basically, Christ, we're never going to get through this. They made these boxes that had the right tone that fooled the switching companies so they could make free long distance calls. Jobs helped Wozniak assemble them and sell them to like college friends, and they split the profits. Now these were illegal at the time, but what was interesting is they managed to prank call the Vatican at midnight
No.
And Wozniak impersonated the Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, and he asked to speak to the Pope.
That's great.
And if you want to hear more about that story, we got an episode on Wozniak and Steve Jobs, where we're going to go into the detail of that because it is pretty mental because they got very close. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but like check in on that. That was great. They did manage to reach several Vatican officials. Anyway, these boxes were illegal, but no one could really track them. So they're very lucrative. And this was the first business venture that kind of sets the scene for Steve and Steve to go on and be the boys. Now, 1975, Wozniak has designed a simple personal computer. It's called the Apple I. And he just did it for fun because he's a neek. And him and... Well, I'm just saying, there's no there's no money yet. I'm really disappointed by how little money they're making.
Well, we're at, what was it? He's only 21 though, Steve Jobs.
When I was 21, James.
Yeah, what'd you do?
I had £1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
When grandfather died, it was a very lucrative year for me. But that is all gone on this pod.
So this is 1976.
That's gone on everything, everything going on in this room. 1976. They then officially found Apple Computer Incorporated with a third partner. Now, no one talks about Ronald Wayne. He was the third partner. He had 10% of the shares, I believe, and then he backed out 12 days later. So he backed out, and that has got to be the most valuable FOMO. Apple co-founder Ronald Wayne sold his 10% stake in Apple for $800. Today it'd be worth $300 bill.
Oh God.
That is a real panic decision, that.
800 quid. 300 billion.
Yeah.
It's like you hear those blokes that are like, yeah, I was a drummer for the Beatles for a week, and then
just didn't like Paul.
Lennon was annoying.
Lennon was
another annoying hippie.
They were smelly.
Yeah.
You know, I put up with the stank for $300 bill.
Yeah. 800. Oh my God. Is he still alive, that bloke?
Kill yourself.
Yeah.
I'd kill myself.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Ronald Wayne.
Ronald Wayne. If Ronald Wayne has gone on to do anything with his life, I really am very impressed.
There's a non-profit from Apple today.
He's a walking non-profit, James.
Yeah.
The lesson number 1 of Alfie's Business Club: never give up your stake 12 days in.
God, look at it.
Oh, Ronald,
the forgotten co-founder.
Also, you look up his name, every single thing is about him. He could invent clean water. Well, I think someone's come up with that, but he could solve.
He could cure cancer. This guy.
He could cure cancer, and everyone would go, "Yeah, but you lost out.
Oh,
you're a loser. You're a loser.
So depressing.
Ronald Wayne, you're a loser, and I have no time for you." Now, Ronald Wayne's out the picture, so now we got Steve Jobs, 50% of the shares each, pretty much. They created 50 Apple Ones, which were basically just little computer boards. And then putting on my glasses so I can see a little bit better. And they were doing this. This is the famous picture of them in Steve Jobs' parents' garage, which was a bit of a myth. Right. Steve Jobs did work from his parents' garage, but he was 21 and he dropped out of college, so fair enough. Steve Wozniak was working at HP, not the source. Hewlett Packard, I believe it is, and they made printers, not HP Source, but easily confused. So Steve Wozniak was doing most of his work in the HP offices. They made 50 of these. They sold them at $500 a piece. No, they made them for $500, and then they sold them for $666.66. That's not a very good margin. This is why they didn't have very much money. Wozniak had to sell his HP computer, and Jobs sold his Volkswagen microbus, which, by the way, doesn't feel like an equal trade.
Yeah. Get rid of the computer, I'll get rid of my bus.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I've just sold my car so we can build this company. Oh, well, I'm going to sell my pen.
Well,
50-50? 50-50.
I reckon cars were cheaper back then. I reckon computers were more expensive. Also, it's crazy that they were into computers in 1976.
I know. I mean, that's caveman era in my mind.
1976, they were into computers.
That's before,
Michael Jackson was black.
He was. And not touching kids.
Was this Thriller Jackson just before Thriller?
This is because you can draw two lines. One is Michael Jackson's musical ability that slowly comes down, and then the other line is Michael Jackson's propensity for touching kids, and that slowly goes up. And there must be an intersection at which point his music and his noncery were kind of balancing each other out, and then it tipped the balance.
So I think that would have been in the 80s.
Because in 76, he's making great music and he's touching adults. I think this is Thriller, this is Beat It, this is...
I think that was 80s though.
Billie Jean.
Let me have a look. Michael Jackson, 1970s. So this episode's about Steve Jobs, yeah?
Yeah, but it's very important to know what he was listening to at the time.
So he would have been Off the Wall. I think he was Off the Wall in...
Got to be there. A, B, C, you and me. A, B, C. Da, da, da. Well, that's the Alfie's Business Club.
He would be just transitioning, I think, into...
I didn't know he was trans.
Yeah, his pronouns are he. Anyway, not my joke. I think he would have been transitioning into Superstar Jackson. Not quite yet.
Fine. We're in the late 70s. Yeah. Jackson's still... a decent human being. He's still black. He's still putting out good music.
Yeah.
The Apple I launches. The Apple II comes out in 1977, which is arguably the first ever mass appeal sort of personal computer.
And it went.
And it goes mental. They take it to the West Coast County Fair, which is sort of just a collection of virgins.
A county fair suggests it's like rodeo.
The West Coast Computer Fair.
Oh, Computer Fair.
It's the Battle of Hastings reenactment for America. And they start selling these Apple IIs. In 1977, they had sold 775,000. In 1980, 3 years later, they sold... Sorry, that's $775,000 worth.
Oh my God.
So they're making about $750,000 in 1997. In 1980, 3 years later, they make 118 million.
Jesus.
So it's 150 times growth in 3 years.
Just as for our football fans listening,
yeah,
the Apple I,
yeah,
he's basically like Jose Mourinho at Porto.
He's at Porto and he's doing amazing things with a smaller team.
And then he hits the Apple II.
The Apple II is Chelsea season 1.
Money.
I am the special one.
I am special one.
Well, special one. I don't care if they say I stink from the fruit. Here's Apple II.
If I talk, I'm in big trouble.
If I talk, I'm in a huge. I think that's later. Yeah.
He's hit the big time now. He's got all the money.
Yeah.
He's coming to the mainstream.
Yeah.
He won a Champions League before.
He's also eating normal food again.
Oh, is he?
So he doesn't smell.
Oh.
So this is key. He's no longer Stinky, but he is still a child. He is still now even a CEO of a sort of like company that's making $100 million a year. He's 20.
He's 25 or something.
No, he's younger. I think in 1980 he must be. In 1980 he's 25. So over those 3 years he's 22 to 25. Now I'm 25. And I see a lot of myself in Steve Jobs, just in terms of that ruthlessness, clean diet, and
you've got a child that you don't see anymore.
A child I can't have a child. I'm sterile. Yeah. Remember that, James.
Yeah.
Well, let's get on to that. Basically, we're now in 1981, and I want to bring in our first sort of bully term. Employees joked that Steve Jobs had a reality distortion field. And that was a term they used all the time, which basically means he's a 25-year-old CEO of a sort of company that's worth billions. And he would just go into rooms and bend reality.
Right. How would that manifest?
He would just not accept no. He could just convince you that something that can't happen can happen. Right. Let's go through a few examples. He would often just walk into a room, he'd praise one of his employees, and then he'd eviscerate them and fire them on the spot 2 minutes later. One early Apple manager noted that if a product or a design wasn't shaping up to what he wanted, his solution was simple. He would call the product shit, he'd call the designers bozos, and he'd throw a fit until people saw it his way.
He's a little child.
He's a leader of people, James.
Right. I mean, But it's weird just to think at this time, Apple gets IPO'd.
This is when Apple is now mainstream. It's no longer in a garage. Within 3 years, you go from garage to or garage. Garage.
Well, I would say garage.
Garage.
But you're
right. But
you'd say garage.
Lesson number 2 of being a billionaire. Talk properly. Garage. Garage band.
Yeah.
Like on the Mac.
Band.
That's what I used to do on the Mac.
Yeah.
What would you say? Garage band.
Garage band. Yeah.
Park in the garage.
Well, yeah. We didn't have a garage.
We didn't have a garage. We had a
driveway.
Nice. Yeah.
So the Apple's valuation at that point is 1.7 billion.
That's 1980. 25-year-old Steve Jobs IPOs. IPO is an initial public offering, and that is when you let the public, as stinky and disgusting as they are, buy shares in your precious company. Right. But it's a very clever way to make a lot of money and sort of become a billionaire, really.
Overnight billionaire.
And that's when he gets into, and I've been wearing it this whole time, but it's finally relevant. That's when the turtleneck comes out.
This early?
That is really, yeah. He IPOs with the turtleneck on. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Little tiny specs and a turtleneck. IPOing 1.7 bill. And
not quite.
No, but look, go down there.
Oh, he's turtlenecked up.
Turtlenecked up, but not black turtleneck.
No.
He still has hair at this point, I'd like to point out. And he looks a bit Ashton Kutcher-esque.
Well, that's why he played him in the film, eh?
Steve Jobs played Ashton Kutcher in a movie.
Yeah. He married
I missed that.
Mila Kunis.
I missed that on Netflix.
No, you know that. So there's two. I mean, maybe we should.
Well, I'll be honest. In preparation for this, I didn't watch either movie.
Do you know?
No, I have seen the original one about the daughter, and we're going to do an episode on the daughter, so we'll go through that in detail. I haven't seen the Ashton Kutcher one.
Ashton Kutcher is in a film called Jobs, I think it's called, and it's because he looks so much like him. I think they were just like, well, let's get him in.
Well, let's put him in. And Ashton Kutcher, I want to do an episode on Ashton Kutcher. He invested in Uber and Airbnb and all these companies quite early on. He's one of our celebritreneurs.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur celebs. He's one of the entrepreneur celebs.
So he's a billionaire and he's been an absolute nightmare.
He's not a billionaire. He's a 200 millionaire.
Okay.
And there's a big difference. 200 million doesn't touch the size. It's $1 billion that we want to make. So I still don't really respect him. He's worth 200 million. He's 25 and that's cute, but he's not a billionaire yet. And most of the Apple team become millionaires too. In 1982, Time magazine put him on the cover with the title Striking It Rich. And we'll put that up on the screen. But there's still him being a bit of a dick. Like he was hoping to be Man of the Year. Here's the Time cover. So Time, he thought he was going to be Man of the Year. And then because he was such a bully to his employees, and by this point he'd had a daughter that he'd denied, who we'll sort of talk about a little bit. And he was obsessive and he was controlling. They changed the cover and they made the Apple II Machine of the Year.
Yeah. Rather
than Steve Jobs, the Man of the Year.
And he was annoyed at this.
And then in 1981, he takes over the Macintosh team. This is the original Mac, hasn't really been built yet, but this is when he really just starts showing off about being a bully. He waved a pirate flag, like a Jolly Roger pirate flag, around the building and declared, it's better to be a pirate than to join the Navy.
Right.
Which is, I mean, ask any pirate. Not true.
No, they go, we actually couldn't get into the Navy.
If you went and found a pirate now off the coast of wherever, I don't really know where pirates are. I mean, I want to say Somalia, but I think that's just from Captain Tom. No, not Captain Tom Hanks.
Phillips.
Captain Phillips, played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah. But they're not.
They missed a trick there with Captain Tom. It was in the fucking name.
But they're not, yeah, shiver me timbers pirates. They're give me everything or we'll shoot you in the head pirates.
I'm the Macintosh now.
Yeah.
I think if you went to any of those lads, even back in the day, and you went, boys, you're dying of scurvy and you have no loot and you're stuck with 400 men on a stinky ship, would you rather just be part of the Navy?
They go, yeah.
They go, yeah, bite your hand off.
Yeah.
I don't know many people in the Navy that are going, yeah, the job's good, but
I wish I was a pirate.
Wish I was a pirate.
I could do with a parrot.
Could do with a wooden stump arm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of enjoys being a little bit of a.
He's a nutcase.
Well, it's what you need for success. The engineers worked 90 hours a week, and then I love this. They had a motto: working 90 hours a week and loving it. That's not a motto.
No, that's a sweatshop.
That's not convincing.
No.
If you went to a Chinese factory, of which Apple was accused of having a lot, and there was a bunch of children down there, you'd go, God, this is shocking. And then they'd all start chanting, we love 90 hours a week. You go, oh, sorry. They love this. It's just their motto.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We don't need shoes.
But I think that there's a difference. The Chinese factories that Steve Jobs was running, where they were jumping them, they had to put nets in. We'll maybe probably get onto this. They were jumping off. They had to stop. They have to have a net outside the factory because they were jumping off.
Allegedly, James.
Allegedly. Earning no money.
Yeah.
And then these guys probably got Apple stocks. They're in Silicon Valley. They're living it up.
Yeah. However, they are working in close proximity to Steve Jobs. So the Apple offices and the employees here do have stinkier work conditions.
Okay. Is he stinky again?
I read something on his diet. I think he keeps fluctuating between normal bloke and pure fruit.
Right.
And it is what is what kills him in the end.
Yeah.
But
and
is that why he called it apple?
Because he loved apples. I have no idea.
No, but it checks out. I mean, he was eating a lot of apples. He was a fully grown Ashton Kutcher sized man, and he was eating just apples and pears and beetroot, and he was stinky, and that might be where the name came from. Because why did Steve Jobs call it Apple? Because he really liked apples. He visited an apple farm, and he thought, 1, I'm going to build computers. 2, I'm never going to eat anything else again.
That's it. Me done.
That's all he wants.
Also, Apple, wasn't it because of Isaac Newton?
No.
Okay. No, I think it was.
No. Anyway. No, it's a nice idea. Put it in an email.
Okay.
I don't want it now.
All right.
I don't want it.
All right.
Wait, can you smell that? Smells like opportunity. Now, Jim, Steve Jobs regularly calls his employees bozos and idiot, and he reduces them to tears. Yeah. Effective leadership. He was a visionary bully. He was inspirational 1 minute, and then he was intimidating the next. And he would really get worked up over small details. And then to make himself feel better, he'd make someone else cry to cheapen the therapy.
Yeah. And at this point, he's in the Jose Mourinho analogy. He is winning trophies with Chelsea.
He's winning Chelsea's at trophy, and so he can kind of get away with anything.
Yeah.
But as we know, there's only so long you can spend at the top.
Yes.
Right now, he's winning and he's bullying.
13 goals conceded in a season.
He's absolutely parked the bus. Yeah. Steve Jobs has parked the bus. What he's done is he's gone, Arsenal away, bozo. Idiot. Yeah. Bring it back tomorrow exactly the same and I'll love it.
Yeah.
This is one of his GOAT quote. So what's Mourinho's GOAT quote like?
I am special one.
I'm the special one. 3 for me and 2 for you. His version of that is, I don't know what year this is, but basically Steve Jobs was unimpressed by a computer that had arrived from Xerox. So he cold called one of the designers called Bob Belleville. And he said, everything you've ever done in your life is shit. So why don't you come and work for me? Belleville gets up and joins him.
That's power. Mic drop.
Just a quick moment for Steve.
Yeah.
He's a 25-year-old multimillionaire. A computer arrived. He didn't really like it. He called up the person that designed one of the, that team had 400 people in it at Xerox. He called one of them and he said, every single thing, everything you've done in your life. Wait, sorry, who am I talking to again? Yeah. Bob Belville. Hey, Bob. He went, have I got Bob Belville on the
Operator.
line? Is the CEO of Xerox in? No, he's out. Just hand me to anyone then.
Yeah.
Who is this then? It's Bob. All right, mate. Everything you've ever done, dog shit.
Yeah.
So
Join the winning team.
And so for that reason, come and do something meaningful over here. Cheers, Bob. See you on Monday.
yeah.
It's a bit mental because he's insulted the bloke and then hired him.
Yeah, I think he must have known he was good, but everything you've done in your life is
shit. So why don't you come work for me?
Yeah.
And then I think he didn't say this, but the implication is, and it'll be less shit from now on.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is this is when he becomes almost his most childish. It's real playground bully, frat club kind of stuff. Often he would, when he was interviewing people on the Mac team, he would just stop asking normal questions and he'd go, "Are you a virgin?" And if they were, he'd start gobbling like a turkey.
No, that's not true.
It's a frat house. It's a frat house. It's a bully. If they bored him as well, he'd go gobble, 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 gobble. Which doesn't really make any sense. But this is the reality distortion field. This is where whatever he says happens. He had an engineer called Larry Kenyon, not Kenyon as in of Kenya.
Right.
Kenyon spelt sort of like canyon, but with a K-E.
Right. He's not Kenyan.
He's not. No, James. No. Larry Kenyon is not Kenyan. Because I know, I'm worried there are going to be some broke bitches listening to this that might get quite confused there. Larry Kenyon. And Jobs said, look, the Mac is too slow. You've got to make it faster. And Kenyon said, I can't make it faster. I'm not Kenyan.
Pretty good.
And Jobs went, Kenyan by name, Kenyon by nature. Make it faster over a long distance. To be clear, I don't know if there's many Kenyan sprinters, but they always clean up a marathon.
Yeah, the long sprint.
It's more, there are not many Kenyan sprinters. That's weird. We'll do an episode on that. Anyway, and Jobs basically said, look, 5 million people are going to use the Mac one day. If you can save 10 seconds off the loading time, the boot time, how long it takes the laptop to sort of start up, that would save 50 million seconds a day. Over a year, that's dozens of lifetimes. You've been saving lives. Isn't it worth it? Now, what a guy.
What is he on about?
What a guy. Kenyon did managed to drastically cut the boot time, and Jobs then went, see?
He went,
And one of my other favorite ones, I think this comes later, it might be one of the iPads, but he basically took one of the original Macs or one of the iPads, dropped it in water, bubbles floated to the top, and he went, look, there are bubbles, which means there's air, which means it could be smaller.
God almighty.
Oh, mate, just try it out.
Yeah.
Also, that was the only one.
Yeah, cheers.
Steve, mate, we got the new iPad here. Bring me a bucket.
What do you want the bucket for? Don't worry about it. Straight in.
I either drown you or I drown them. It's like the witch trials, but for an iPad.
Yeah.
If the iPad survives, it's not a real iPad. And if it doesn't survive, well, it was an iPad, but it's too late now.
Yeah. Make me another.
Make me another iPad.
Interesting. Well, he's kind of body shaming the products
iPad.
there.
Yeah, they're too slow, they're too fat, they're too ugly, they got fake eyelashes.
Yeah.
He's changed. He's changed from a hippie into what I would call a good leader.
Yeah, yes. I would say a tyrant. He's not. Yeah, this is kind of peak Jobs, right? This is
peak Jobs, but this is
maybe
foreboding a problem. In 1985, they have a CEO called John Scully, and Scully is trying to kick out Steve Jobs.
Right.
Ooh. Well, I don't really know. But I think we're on Steve Jobs' side here. Scully confronts him at the annual board meeting in Hawaii. Now, that's brilliant because hippie Steve Jobs in Hawaii, you've got him on home turf. No one's showering indoors. Everybody's swimming. He's got his flip-flops on, his Hawaiian shirt, and he's walking around eating fruit. And they go, oh, you got the dress code? He goes, no, this is just every day.
Yeah, swimming.
Scully's there in a suit, sweating, dripping.
Yeah.
Like how I feel in this turtleneck.
Yeah.
He goes, he's got no chance. They shout, bunch of accusations flying around the room. The board backed Scully and they stripped Steve Jobs of all managerial control.
How can you do that?
Because when you IPO, you give up control of the company. You bring on a board of directors who now their responsibility is to the shareholders. And he has 200 million of the 1.7 billion. So he has what's that, 30% of the original company. He is no longer the majority stakeholder.
Right.
That's not funny. That's just genuine economics,
Right.
which we're going to usually avoid in this podcast, but every now and again it will slip through the cracks. So he no longer, so if the board backs Scully, they can kick out Steve Jobs, and they do. And he's now 30 years old. He's a prodigy, but he's sort of been publicly humiliated, and
He hasn't got a job.
he calls it a betrayal of cosmic proportions. He hasn't got a job. So this is, Abramovich has come in and gone, Jose, you're not cutting it anymore.
You've lost to Aston Villa.
You've lost to Villa.
Lost to Birmingham.
A home?
No, never a home.
You've lost to Villa away.
Yeah.
And you've conceded a goal.
Yeah.
It's a bit like right now, it's Arteta's set piece coach coming in and going, you've just conceded a shot on target.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Get him out.
You're fired.
So he's now gone, well, I might go. He's left Chelsea, and now he's like, I might try out Inter Milan.
He's left Chelsea, but he's still got the itch.
He's got the
He's
itch.
also
He's still
at the
brilliant.
prime. He's 30. He's still got the tactics.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how to park the bus. He just needs a new league to do it. And he is very clever and very powerful. He goes to a new company, or he sets up a new company, I should say, called Next. N, and then capital N, little e, capital X, capital T.
Not the clothing shop.
Not Next, as in sort of cheap jeans.
Yep.
Well, let's double check that actually. Did Steve Jobs found Next Clothing? I think it's safe to say it wasn't. It was a small tech company. He hired a bunch of engineers from Apple's Macintosh team, and they wanted to outdo Apple. His dream was to build an M3 machine, which is where you get, a 3M machine, which is 1 megabyte of RAM, 1 megapixel display, 1 megaflop speed. He basically wanted to
Mega flop.
the megaflop speed. It's the speed at which it goes soft. And he wanted that to be really, really fast. He wanted to simulate advanced research. And he said, with this computer, you'll be able to cure cancer in a dorm room.
Brilliant.
By eating an apple.
Yeah.
And using the Next computer.
So this computer was like beautiful to look at. It was really good, I think. But it cost loads of money, and no one bought it.
It was $6.5 grand then, which is 16 grand today.
Yeah.
And no one wanted it. But it was nicknamed the Cube.
Yeah.
It was a little kind of.
Well, it was the game show.
It was the game show with Philip Schofield.
Who's Peter Schofield? I think he's a murderer.
No, it was Philip Schofield.
Philip Schofield, yeah. Who's Peter Schofield?
Steve Jobs invented the Cube, which was a game show with Philip Schofield in about 2012.
Yeah.
Where people would come into a box and do challenges, and then he would sort of ask them their age and ask them out for dinner. I'm pretty sure that's how it. I don't think it exists anymore. The Cube.
No, but it does. It's a live experience.
You can do the Cube live.
Yes.
And that is when you rock up, you pay 50 quid, and then Philip Schofield tries to scream you.
Yes.
Okay, fine. With a Lost Mary pink flavoured vape in hand.
Do you want me to die?
Do you want me to die?
Well, but.
Not literally.
No.
Or metaphorically, we should put that out. We don't want anyone to die, but Steve Jobs invents the Cube. Philip Schofield ruins it with his reputation. And it isn't really a massive win. The big win for Steve Jobs, and I don't think many people know this, Steve Jobs basically built Pixar. And I think a lot of people don't know that. He bought a small computer animation division from George Lucas of Star Wars, if I'm correct, and Disney and all that lot, for $5 million. He put in $5 million of his own money, and he renamed it Pixar. Pixar made no money for years and years and years. And then in 1995, which is about 10 years later, having lost all this cash, Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first feature-length computer animated film, and they make $350 million worldwide.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable win. That's unbelievable. Basically, his side quests are. But what's interesting about this is he makes, I think, more money off Pixar than he makes off Apple.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs makes more money off Pixar than he does off Apple. Let that sink in for a second.
Pixar. So. He has an 80% stake.
He owns so much of it. 80%.
$1.5 billion after IPO.
Pixar IPO, and then get bought by Disney.
I don't think he must. I think he sold
No,
it short.
he
What?
now when it's public, he still owns 80%. 7.4 billion
What?
buyout from Walt Disney by Pixar. Jobs, who had now at this point 50% of the shares after they'd IPO'd, he is now the single largest individual shareholder of Disney, of the bigger company Disney. So he goes 5 million to George Lucas. I'll take your shitty little computer animation film. You go and do Star Wars, you fucking nerd. He puts 5 million. He does nothing for 10 years. Then he goes with Disney and he goes, let's make Toy Story, which, first of all, smash hit first song.
Yeah.
Debut album, James Blunt, Back to Bedlam levels of success. Billie Eilish, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? 7 Grammy. Toy Story is your first film.
That's a banger.
Your first film. You know how everyone's first film is like, oh, I did this little indie thing. Oh, Toy Story.
Yes.
Heard of it? Oh, I set up a little animation studio. What have you made? Well, we made Toy Story first. And then what? Well, then we did Toy Story 2 and it's bigger. Toy Story 3 was commercially, great, critically weak. Well,
it's brilliant.
Great.
Oh, no. Toy Story 3 is, I think, the best one.
7 Bill. He now is the 7th. He owns 7% of Disney.
That's mad.
Great. Apple buy Next just to kind of get him back.
Well,
for
to
about
get
400 mil.
The motherboard, or to get like the tech.
To get the chips.
Yes.
Again, not the food.
Okay.
You on board?
Yes.
Good. Great.
So Jose's returned to Chelsea.
Jose's returned to Chelsea. So Jose Mourinho, Steve Jobs at Next is sort of
Inter Milan.
Doesn't quite work, but he kind of gets him back in the room.
Wins the Champions League.
Well, then I think it would be, I think Pixar is Inter Milan.
Pixar's Inter Milan.
I think Next is sort of Man U.
No, Real Madrid.
No, that comes up Real Madrid.
So he does okay. He wins La Liga, doesn't win a Champions League.
It kind of keeps him in the file, but it's not a big deal.
Bill Gates as Pep Guardiola is kind of doing him in.
Considering that Steve Jobs was building another computer company, people expected more. Because it's the Galacticos. He's the Galactico of computers.
Yeah.
What no one was expected was to go to animation with Inter Milan and get a Champions League. You smash that out of the park.
Play a 4-3-3.
Chelsea come calling. They go, I want you back for good.
Yeah.
I want you back. I want you back.
This is also like Robbie returning to take that.
He returns to take that.
Yeah.
And he's way richer than Apple.
Yeah.
He is now, like, he walks in and he goes, fuck, your sales have been down since I left.
Yeah.
You bought my company because you need my computer. Oh, and by the way, you seen Toy Story? That's fucking me, bitch. That's how he walks back in the room. He's so much more unhinged now because he's got more money and more success.
So I'm born. This is when I'm born.
What year?
When he comes back to Apple.
Where are we at? 79?
1997.
Sorry, 97.
Yeah.
Right. So Michael Jackson's white and quite possibly a nonce.
I think he's starting his nonce. Sorry. I don't know if he's white yet.
Is this the transition down?
1997, Michael Jackson. Let's have a look. Sorry, carry on.
Well, basically, what I wanted to get to was the fact that he is now so unhinged. He has so many rules. There's one part at which he comes back to Apple.
Oh, he's white. He's touching. Oh, that's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a white woman. Touching kids.
He's a white grandma.
Which is rare. You don't get many female nonsense, but that's what Michael Jackson is at this point.
Yes.
So that's to place it so people know where we are.
Yeah.
That's to put it into the context of the world. At Pixar, the only thing I want to say is he does one of his ultimate bully moments, which is the CEO of Pixar was basically like, he kept firing people without any notice. So he'd fire people and be like, I don't want to see you for the rest of the day. Go now. Right. And the CEO was like, you have to give them, legally, I think, at a minimum, 2 weeks notice. And he goes, okay, fine. You got 2 weeks notice starting 2 weeks ago. Get out today. Great.
It's kind of a baller move.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Now he's back.
Yeah.
He's back. Apple has been spiraling in the 90s. Mourinho's back. Chelsea have gone through Ancelotti. Ranieri? Or is he afterwards?
I think we might have won a 90s. I'm trying to think
90s Chelsea.
Well, no, this would be
90s Apple is 2010s Chelsea.
Yes, so maybe Di Matteo, he might have scraped the Champions League.
And it's just not good enough.
We're playing Ryan Bertrand at left wing is what we're doing.
He's back. 1997.
Yeah.
Steve's back. Everyone's going crazy. The black turtlenecks are back out. Put the glasses on. Steve's back. Steve's back, everybody. Steve's back in the seat. He's an informal advisor. That's what he calls himself. He's playing it cool. He's back. He's back at the training ground. He's kicking the ball around, but he's not.
Yeah, I might come
He's
aboard.
not throwing his. He's going, I'm a different guy. I've changed since I made $1 billion.
He is well and truly turtleneck.
He calls himself, he's turtleneck and he's doing a lot of this. He's grateful. He's great. He's working in Soho House. Mate, can I just get a, mate.
Can I have an almond latte?
Can I get mate, do you have any, can I get a Paloma? Have you got, mate, thanks, mate.
Please, thank you, buddy.
He's got glasses. He's in jeans. He's wearing the same thing every day. He's zen. He's sort of eating a lot of fruit. He calls himself an informal advisor because he's playing it cool. He very quickly becomes the interim CEO, or the CEO as he calls himself. Oh. Yeah. What's that? iPhone's on the way.
No.
iPad's on the way.
Ooh.
iPod is on the way.
The pod is the first one,
but
right?
His comeback is he's still a bully. He's just more suave with it. Famously, what he used to do is people would be in the elevator. He'd go, can you hold the door for a sec? And they go, oh yeah, of course. They'd be in, and he'd go, well, what do you do? Because it's now a massive company. He doesn't know everything. He goes, what do you do? And then by the time the elevator opens at the ground floor, he'd go, you're not needed.
And sack him.
Yeah, leave.
My God.
What can I see out my 6 weeks notice? Yeah, of course you can. From 6 weeks ago.
But
he's not shouting. He's going, we're not going to need you.
Okay, he's not raving and ranting anymore. He's kind of a bit more sinister. He's a little bit lower key, but he's still a bastard.
He's still an absolute dick. I mean, in 2008, we're jumping ahead a lot now because he's sort of, a lot is happening, but I want to focus on him being a bully. In 2008, Apple launched Mobile Me, which is a sort of network phone provider, and it doesn't really work. It's an online service. And he gathered the whole team into the auditorium and he said, can anyone tell me what Mobile Me is supposed to do? And then someone answered and he said, well, then why the fuck doesn't it do that? It's a reasonable question.
It's a reasonable question.
It's a reasonable question, James. Yeah. Absolutely no compromise on anything. In 2008 as well, he does the air bubble thing with the iPad, drops the iPad in the water.
I think that's then, yeah.
The air bubbles come up. He says that means there's space, make it smaller.
This is like when he comes back, he's kind of the Apple that we know and love today.
Yeah.
That slick, that kind of culty.
Yeah. Think different, iMac, iPhone, iPad.
Because there was the famous advert where he's the Think Different advert, where it's like Gandhi, John Lennon.
And he's looking a bit Gandhi-esque at this point.
Yeah, he's Gandhi Lennon, isn't he?
Steve Jobs, Gandhi and John Lennon all stink and all have tiny glasses.
Gandhi stinks.
Arguably, Gandhi is probably the cleanest out of the three of them.
Absolutely.
Because Gandhi had a fucking normal diet.
Lennon
is not washing because Yoko's sort of like, I like it when you don't wash.
He's staying in bed all day.
Now, I can't prove that, but it almost definitely happened. Yeah. Gandhi's the cleanest. Out of Steve Jobs, Gandhi and Lennon, they've all got tiny glasses.
All geniuses.
They're all geniuses.
All dickheads.
All arseholes, apparently. Yeah. I don't really know about Gandhi. Gandhi is by far the cleanest. Who would I like to be stuck in an elevator with? Gandhi, number one.
Yeah.
John Lennon, number two. At least he's got the soft voice.
Yes.
Steve Jobs, number three. Because by the end of the elevator, he'd stink it up and I'd lose my job. Anyway, a lot of intensity and just the same old shit goes over and over again. We're now in the early 2000s, so woke HR is sort of getting involved. So he's been tempered a little bit, but he's still an arsehole. One of the former marketing VPs noted that in design meetings, Jobs' verdicts on new ideas came in 3 options. Insanely great, really, really great, or shit.
Right.
That's what his feedback would be. There's no middle ground. Fair enough.
Yeah.
He was a good man.
So at this point, Jackson's touching kids.
Jackson's, yeah.
He's full on Culkin.
And I think we're making documentaries about it.
Yeah.
We're getting quite close to figuring it out because he keeps taking kids to Neverland, but now we have smartphones. And thanks to Steve Jobs, we put a camera in a phone.
Yeah.
Or in an iPod even before that.
And this is this when he starts to get sick?
He gets ill in 2003, at the age of 48, he's diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He ignores doctors' advice for immediate surgery and he tried treating the cancer with alternative diets for 9 months. He's back to stinky vegan, except this time it's dangerous.
Yes.
He had surgery a year later, and then in 2008, he was sort of getting really ill. And in 2009, he went under a liver transplant. And even at the end, fair play to the bloke, when journalists would ask him about his health, he'd tell them to fuck off. He'd shout at them. He'd be like, what are you talking about?
Leave me alone.
Go. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, it didn't.
No.
But
No, it didn't.
He's a proper stinky dick till the end, a stinky vegan. And one of the most arseholey things he does over this period, over the 90s and 2000s, is he has a kid who he denies exists.
Yeah.
And we have got an episode on that out now on the channel. Lisa, the child that Steve Jobs had and then denied and then named a computer after. We're going to go through all of that and the ridiculous ways he went to try and proving that wasn't his kid.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
He went and had other kids that he loved, but this kid he just refused to accept, and it's crazy why. So click on that if you haven't already listened to it.
Can I just highlight very quickly before we wrap up? The best headline I've ever seen, because I remember this happening at the time, when Steve Jobs stepped down in 2011 and Tim Cook, after a few other CEOs, Tim Cook took over. And the best headline ever was on the newspapers, Cook promises Apple turnover. That might be the best thing I've ever heard. Isn't that good?
That's fresh.
That's so good.
That's so fresh.
Better than anything I'll ever do.
Cook promises Apple turnover. And let me break that one down for our listeners, because not all of them are privately educated. Tim Cook, new CEO of Apple.
Yeah.
But also sort of implying a chef.
Yes.
Promises.
Yeah.
Sort of says.
Yeah.
Apple turnover.
Yes.
Apple are going to change turnover, revolve, move on, new CEO coming in and turning over a profit. And Apple is the company, but it's also an Apple turnover, James, is a sort of sweet dessert.
Oh yeah.
It's a sweet dessert. Or a small one could be a light snack.
Right.
And on that note, I want to thank our listeners for tuning in for this, the first ever episode of Alfie's Business Club. We have 2 more episodes on Steve Jobs and Apple, which are already available on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to be talking about Steve Jobs versus Steve Wozniak. You can see that now. And the Lennon, speaking of John Lennon, the Lennon and McCarthy of Silicon Valley, the Gallagher brothers and the beef that they had. And then we've also got an episode on Lisa, who was the daughter that Steve Jobs just denied having for absolutely no reason whatsoever. But there we have it. Steve Jobs, a dick, almost certainly, a genius.
Do you think he's a good bloke?
I think he's a good bloke because he made a lot of money.
If you to rank it out of 10, whereas sort of 10 being the best bloke ever, or best person ever, maybe we could do this with all the people that we meet.
Yeah.
10 being goat of goats, 1 being...
Steve Jobs has got to be up there as one of the greatest of all time. He's the Mourinho of business.
Yeah.
He's the Mourinho of billionaires.
He is a special one.
He comes back. He makes money in Toy Story. Goat.
Yeah.
He tells people they haven't got a job. Goat.
And then
he shouts at people. Goat behavior.
Wins the Premier League with Chelsea.
He makes billions. When he dies, I think he was worth a few bill.
Well, when he dies, he's at Spurs.
And I think if we've learned anything today from Alfie's Business Club, because this is, again, I need to stress, this is an educational podcast.
Yeah.
What I've learned from this is that bullying works and it will make you money.
Yes.
There we go. Tune in next time to see what we get up to next.